Tomorrowland, a movie I have technically reviewed twice before if you count my top 10 favorite movies of 2015, but the more in-depth review is my Norty's Forgotten Flicks that I did in August 2016. Well, a lot has happened since August 2016, and by that I mean this shit happened, and people's optimism has lowered, and we all seem to be pissed off. I'm not immune to this, but that just shows how freaking important this movie is, even more than it was 3 years ago when it came out. A teenage girl named Casey Newton, played by Britt Robertson, is a very optimistic young chap who one day comes in the possession of a pin that shows her a wonderful world of the future called Tomorrowland. She tries to find out where it came from, and it turns out to be from a robot girl named Athena, played by Rafie Cassidy, and she tries to protect her from some people who want to kill her to keep Tomorrowland a secret. She then meets Frank Walker, played by George Clooney, who is much more pessimistic than her, and they go off to find Tomorrowland. So yeah, I've gone on and on about how much I love the message of this movie. To me, there is nothing more needed right now than to tell people, stop complaining about how much shit sucks and actually do something about it. I mean, again, I've fallen into this trap as well. Believe me, I know how much the world sucks and how helpless you can feel. Sometimes everything just goes wrong, from having so many car problems that it leaves you financially struggling, to having your job feel like it's being run by someone trying to force themselves out of business, to massive student loan debt that keeps rising because you can't pay it, to your president continually making your country look stupid, to mass shootings and terrorist attacks, and you just can't escape any of it via YouTube anymore because all your favorite internet reviewers are fighting over shit that happened 4 fucking years ago, and you can't even say anything about it because if you do, you'll get in trouble, and so you just spend hours sitting there emotionless trying to keep yourself calm so you don't lose your mind and do something you'll later regret. Wait, where was I? Alright, so yes, even though everything seems like it's going wrong, just having a little bit of optimism that things will get better can make things improve so much. But yeah, I've gone over how much I love the message, so let's talk about the movie itself. I still think it works really well. For a film that juggles a lot of genres, action, comedy, sci-fi, adventure, it actually does mesh together well, for the most part. Honestly, I think the biggest tonal shifts come from just weirdly dark moments and not one genre trying to take spotlight away from another. Like I said, it's 2/3 a great movie and 1/3 a mess. I will stand by that the first 2/3 are great. If someone says that the last act kills it for them, I won't agree, but I do understand. It does sort of all come crashing together, but I think it holds up well enough. From a visual standpoint, this movie is beautiful. I mean, you can't really deny how gorgeous this movie is. The effects work, the colors, the lighting, it just looks great. And I still stand by that the one-shot view of Tomorrowland is one of the best scenes of the past 5 years. The action scenes are a lot of fun, and some of them are very creative. They take advantage of the fact that this is a science fiction movie, and like with Ghost Protocol, even though it's live action, it does feel a little more cartoony than something like Star Wars or Star Trek, which also have huge action scenes and sci-fi gadgets. So yeah, it has a lot of imagination and creativity, but I do genuinely like the characters and actors. Casey is optimistic and fun, but she can be a bit of a troublemaker and does rush into things without giving them much thought. Frank is a bit of an ass, but he's still a smart and tries to help Casey, and Clooney and Robertson have very good chemistry. Robertson especially, she just always has this face of awe and wonder whenever she comes across something fantastical, which for me is one of the most important aspects of a fantasy. God, I hope she gets a better agent, because I think since this film, the most critically successful film she's done has been A Dog's Purpose. The story, when you really get to it, is just a simple road adventure, but it's a fun one with characters I like. The comedy is pretty funny, and while sometimes the darker jokes do mess with the tone, some of them are legit hilarious. The villain is okay, I mean, you don't get to know him that much, but the way he's tied into the overall theme and message of the movie is what makes him work for me. Maybe if the movie actually was animated, it would have been better received, but I still really like it. Seriously, why did this movie bomb? This isn't my favorite movie, it's definitely not my favorite Bad Bird movie, and there are movies that I feel are more overlooked, but in terms of critical reception, this is probably the most underrated movie of the decade so far. Yes, it has its flaws, but to me the good stuff is way too good to dislike this movie, and I give it an 8 out of 10. So that was my retrospective on the films of Brad Bird. Yep, all 5 of them. This guy is the definition of quality over quantity. When his worst movie is still pretty good, that says a lot. I'll probably do 2 of these next year, but until then, feed the right wolf, and here's hoping The Incredibles 2 is great. See y'all next time.